Yeehaw! Well, welcome back to another exciting episode in the life and times of Tyrannus Cosplay and the Chrome Chaos helmet build, which is actually part of a full commission costume, so there'll be bits and pieces of this going on for quite a while, at least for the next 8-10 weeks maybe. Yeah, it's got to be ready for a convention for the last weekend in June. So last string saw me knocking out the helmet, the horns, and I've got those done, and eventually they'll be finished and dolled up so they look something like that. Might make those spikes a bit more aggressive on the band around the top, but we'll put all these notches and detail and texture and paint and stuff, and then what we'll do with these two is we'll stick them on this puppy here. The moment they fit in, locking in underneath this top V, because it's a bit countersunk, and I may end up putting a magnet from a hard drive in the bottom to lock them in so that you can pop the horns out for transport. Tonight what I'm going to do is remove that red section, or the red outline section for the eyes and the nose, and put a 45 degree or 90 degree, there we go, border around most of it. It'll start over here on the eye, come up, across and down on both sides, and will also come along the bottom lip of the helmet to at least underneath the horn, and we'll have there's a barb here, a little barb that pops up here, and a couple along the side to make it more aggressive. Across the top there is an arrow, a flat 2mm thick foam arrow. It's going to come across the top. It's going to peak here. Think Ang the Waterbender kind of job, based on the artwork that we've looked at that the client wants. So that's where we're at the moment. I've got to cut some more of these 45 degree straps for the detailing. Now, I might also drop that background music down a little bit because it looks like it's overpowering my dialogue. So I went ahead earlier on and I've cut a couple of pieces out. And I cut some 20mm wide, which I'm tapering off from the center line out on 45 degree. So what we need is an edge on the blades so we can cut it to 45 without taking our fingers to pieces. I'm going to need a ruler, and we're going to need a marker. I thought I had some WD-40 floating around within arm's reach to lubricate and sharpen up and help me clean it a little bit. But for the life of me, I can't see where I put it. No, not stashed under the desk either. Representing Ted tonight. And a thank you once again to Dark Energy Designs for allowing me to use the Judge Project as background music for my streaming. I don't know why I got the sticky tape out. I used it earlier on for something or other. That is definitely not one of my hairs. Because the foam's only 20mm wide and we're putting a line down the middle of it, the ruler tends to want to drop off the back of the foam. So chocking it up with another piece of foam seems to make that job a fair bit easier. I've already marked the centre line, that's why you don't see me measuring. Went and saw Captain Marvel tonight. I know I'm a little behind everybody else. Quite enjoyed it. Took the niece along. She's a young lady of 16, so thought it might be nice for her to see a powerful superhero doing the righty who's not a male stereotype. She enjoyed it a lot. Quite buzzed and pumped on the drive home from the cinema. Some nice story arcs in there pulled together, and bits and pieces of backstory that help out a bit. And if you haven't seen it yet, stay right to the end of the credits. Being a Marvel movie, there is a post-credits scene. In fact, there are two. There's one halfway along, and there's one right at the very end of the credits as well. Okay. With all that Hufflepuff done, let's get some chopping done. She doesn't seem to be as sharp as she could be. So that's the thick core, and those are the trims off the edges, which are also very usable. Slurping my cup of tea. What have we got? We've got 1:20 in the morning over this side of the world. And that. There we go. Now I can see the details on the bottom of the screen. I know what's happening on with my OBS. Nope. Make sure everything's working in the background there. comparatively speaking, this helmet is bloody huge. So, however, the right scale for the client, so it should all work out. Now, I want to put a little bit of a kink in there. So that that takes that angle more correctly. This was a nice clean tabletop until I started staining the demo horn with the shoe polish and the burnt sienna. Didn't quite take that angle far enough. Oh yeah, now the piece is too damn short. Murph's Law, isn't it? Wow. What's dark and furry? Jinx, how are ya? Welcome to another night in the office, or morning in the office. Hope you keep yourself busy, just chilling. Good. Best way to survive, I find. Yeah, representing Ted. Okay. Yep, that's the look we're going for. So that's as far as the trim goes up the side, just to the bottom of that angle of the eye. The rest is just going to be cut out. This peak here is going to be bent slightly forward. You remove all of this inner section here. That trim is going to continue around to all the way, and there'll be little spikes coming off. There's one here at a half angle between the bottom trim and that trim, and there's one basically on each of the lines around, and possibly 3 more across the back, so it's all balanced out. IQ, how you do? How the hell am I? How the hell are you? Where have you been? He says, trying to cover up the fact that he hasn't streamed for so freaking long. But, yeah, it's embarrassing. Things are good, mate. I, been just, taking care of self. Doing that life thing, you know. Life's what's happened to what life is. What happens to you when you're busy making other plans? That stuff, disappearing up your own ass with your current build. Well, I've got about 9 weeks to turn out the full Chaos Armor build. So I'm putting a lot into the helmet so that everything else has to tie in to the overall aggressive look that we want for this. Always a good reason not to stream, looking after self. Well, if you don't look after yourself, who the hell's left to stream? You're working on what will eventually be your first cosplay. You're up to doing some reveals of what you've been working on so far, or you want to play it close to your chest for a little while longer? Because you know you're always welcome to throw links to your Instagram or your image files. That looks pretty balanced. Okay, let's get this top half sorted. I really should keep that in the screenshot because I'm really fucking proud of that. But I don't know where to put it so it stays in the screen. Blaine from Predator. Yeah, do it, man. Throw up an Instagram link to that bad boy. I think that one's too damn wide. Okay. Bloody bottom of the helmet is misshapen, so it won't just sit there. Sweet, has a link there. Building the minigun at the moment. Where's my little... There it is. That'll help. Alright, let's check out this Instagram. Oh, look at that. The barrel spins and all. Nice. Hell yeah, brother. Designed and 3D printed the gearbox, including the G2 belt drive. The GT2 belt drive. Nice. Nice, nice, nice. Well, that just threw me. Let's put that back in front. There we go. Lovely. It's taken way too long. Can I dedicate 4 hours per week on it? Hey. Any forward progress is still forward progress, mate. That is gonna have to be... Drop back a bit because I think we're getting 2 sets of audio from that background music. I understand only having a few hours a week to work on things. Finally finished my croc skull painting. Hey, you want to pop a picture of that up so we can take a gander of that as well? Now these thicker ones I can use for that bottom line. So yeah, we went and seen Captain Marvel tonight at the cinemas, and they put a trailer on for the new Men in Black movie. It is, but not for me. It is a commission piece for a client that needs to be done for a convention for the last weekend in June. He's a very proficient 3D printer here in Perth. In fact, he did the chainmail that goes on the back of that steel horned helmet that I made. That chainmail there, he 3D printed that up for me. So we have a pretty good working relationship. So he wants thank you. He wants some time with the costume before the convention so that he can add chains and things that he wants. And who am I to say, no, blow it out your bum, it'll be ready when it's ready? That's right, nobody! That's who I am. Where's the other thicker one? That's it there. So that one can go around there on that edge, following the same. And then I'm pretty certain I'm going to bring it all the way around the back. Because we've got detail that comes over the top between the two horns. Comes down to about here. And I don't have an image of the back. So we're going to ad-lib that and bring it down to join this piece. What is in the way? Sticky tape roll is in the way. Okay. Do you have Discord? I do. Here's part of the painting. That's a painting? Oh, fuck me. Oh, I dropped the F-bomb, didn't I? Oh, no. Well, we all know what that means. Warning, this live stream is narrated in conversational Australian English, and as such, it will contain language that may be offensive to some viewers, or inappropriate for children, or it might just upset a few weak buggers. But hey, that's how we roll over here at the moment. Now, if it turns out my viewing audience is 12-year-olds, I might not punctuate my streams with Australian colloquialisms. Well, it's not swearing per se, it's more like punctuation. There we go. I knew I had some ginger snap. Biggies here. You're from where a smack in the face can be considered punctuation. Fair enough. We do have suburbs around here like that, but we try to avoid them. The F-bomb is more like foreplay. How freaking romantic, man. Come on. I do know a couple of Welsh guys, yeah. Romance is in our DNA, that and a packet of chips. Okay, I think I screwed that up. Alright. Oh, come on! Piece of fucking shit. Fuck me. Do it in reverse then. Right. That'll do it. Like that. There's one of those there. There's another one here. Another one here. Another one directly below the ear. And about that same spacing across the back. One in the centre. Doink, 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 doink. You have to run and grab some food. Hey, thank you very much, man. You go get some food, because if you don't eat, you don't shit. And if you don't shit, you swell up, explode, and boom! Dead. So, yeah. Food kind of has a priority in the whole ranking of existence thing. I appreciate the shout out. Jinx Dart is now hosting. Thank you, Jinx. Woohoo! That's a far easier way. It's great to be back on, mate. I did stream the building of the helmet and the building of one of the horns that pops in said helmet. So yeah, I plan on streaming at least once a week, at least, and quite possibly that'll pan out to 2 times a week. Trying to get a bit more support on the Patreon page to afford the streaming, but you know, you get back what you put out. So I got to put out some stuff to get some stuff back, I suppose, eh? Well, hopefully, it stays aggressive and because it's from the Warhammer world, but it's a Chaos armor, so far more aggressively orientated. Let's see. Is it in there? These are some of the reference images that we've been going over and discussing to try and fit it into the same universe. So spikes, skulls, chains. I'm going to use one of those sorts of pauldrons and a normal 40k bell pauldron on the other side. That's the helmet that we're taking this design from, or design points from. So, let's see where I'm getting my inspiration from. Hopefully you heard me when I flicked across there to flick through those for you. I'm not sure whether I've got the microphone on for the screen. I love the difference a nice sharp blade makes. Oh! I don't want it rounded, I want it gnarly. Obviously it's sticking up a little bit so it doesn't look quite right. Dango7M is now following. Thank you very much for the follow, Dango. Appreciate that. Welcome along to the stream. You'll see social media's down there across the bottom of the screen if you're interested in keeping in touch on a regular basis. Facebook's down there. A lot of my images get thrown up to my Instagram while I do work in progress. Almost all of these streams ends up on the YouTube channel at some stage. So you can always go back and have a look at a lot on my previous work or any of the chapters in a build that you've missed. So there you go. Thanks for joining us. So yeah, a couple of spikes on the trim, help kick that aggressive look along a bit more. Got to put one more bevel, well, a bevel all the way around the back. If the basic helmet pattern looks a bit familiar, it should do. It's based on a Dr. Fate model, a little bit of modification, fill in the earpieces of course, angled the front to make it a more flat and aggressive stance, and went from there. It's a JF Customs unfold for the Dr. Fate helmet, and we're going to whack a couple of these puppies on the side in here. Whoa. In there and there. Like, hi, that's me. Like that. It's big. He's big. I can't put it on my head because it's got pins poking in it, and I tried that last week and damn near pissed myself. And yeah, we'll slap some paint and some details on those puppies, and we should end up with something that looks like that. Thinking that I might put magnets at the bottom here so that the horns, they hook in underneath the top of the, you can't see that now I removed it, they hook in under the top here. This is tapered, not that you can see that too much. Nick off the heavy bloody thing. See how it tapers down? It matches the line on that. So if I whack a magnet on there, it'll hold the helmet in, the horns in, which are quite firm already, but having magnets in there will keep them in there firmly, and then the owner can pop the helmet, the horns off the helmet for transport so that they don't get damaged. Something that every Chaos Armor wearing Berserker should be conscious of. Damage to his armor. Yeah. Alright. Let's get another couple of 45s going to do the trim around the back. I really should tidy up around here. Got so much junk. Never underestimate the value of a coffee pod dispenser. Gives me a nice rotating work area, a work platform for the helmet. I didn't actually sharpen that, I bloody blunted it. Come on, it should not take 3 runs to get through a piece of 10mm foam. There'll be another spike here, pointing directly up at the bottom of the horn. I don't know whether I'm going to put one in the middle because that strip that goes over the top has to terminate on the back of the helmet somehow. I have to give that some thought how I'm doing that. I don't suppose you're long enough to fill that gap, are you? No, of course you're not. Yes. Really am perturbed as to what happened to my WD-40. Seeing as nobody else in the house has any reason to use it. Where is that strip of 2mm gone? Like that. Although I don't think I need to waste that good 5. That's not the open packet yet. Boink. Okay, that works for me. Shit, would have to be something that's got pattern sizes on it, wouldn't it? And no, let's do that when I cut. $85, 42.5. About there. Thank you. Son of a bitch, right up underneath me fingernail. Nasty bushwhacking animal. It's all sensitive and stuff in there. Thank you, my friend. Very much appreciate that. I think that's wandered off the path a little bit there. It's not quite straight. There we go. If you're not bleeding for your art, you're not actually creating art, apparently. Okay. You like it? I got it off a mate of mine. Top notch guy, eh? Oh, that white balance is really blown out now. Okay, so put the arrowhead on the front, strip across the top of the helmet. Got 3 of the spikes on there. I'm not sure how I'm going to terminate the back. I think what we'll do is we'll copy the arrow point from the front back here, but maybe bring it down, go out one and out, and then terminate. Put another spike like this, same distance around here, one in the middle, one there, and balance it all out. Thanks, Ted. I'm working on a Warhammer commission for a client, and he's been I don't want to use the word vague because he hasn't been vague, but he's been only supplying me with reference images to create an atmosphere, nothing specific, with the exception of the overall look of the helmet based on a helmet that he's rather particular of. But the armor suit itself, he's just thrown a slew of reference images going, fit this universe. So a nice kind of commission to do. But thanks. I'm using JF Customs unfold of a Dr. Fate helmet with a little bit of modification, closed in the ear gap, which you can see that blue foam there is where Dr. Fate's ear cutaway would be. And I countersunk the cheeks. No worries, buddy. Countersunk the cheeks to give the helmet a more aggressive kind of stance, a flat battle plate and sharper edges rather than the organic round feel that I was getting from it. Okay, so there's me little flexible that bloody rotating thingy has pluses and minuses all over it, doesn't it? Now, is there a reason to take it down to that line? I mean, that's just an aesthetic line that's... Okay. Ow, 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 ow. How wide is that puppy? Oh, that's right, we measured it. It was 85. Like my shirt, do you, Dango? You can get a shirt like this too. All you got to do is pop across to Evil Ted Smith's website and buy one off his shop. Pretty certain the Evil Ted ones are still for sale. You can get the Ted ones, or you can get the Foam Fanatic ones, which is what we call ourselves over there in Ted Town. $85. $85. To that whole measure twice and cut once kind of thing. You're off? No worries, mate. Thanks for joining us. Appreciate it. I don't stream as regularly as I'd like to, but yeah, if you hit a follow, you'll get a notification when I do stream, and you're more than welcome to join us at any time. My pleasure, mate. These are social medias across the bottom there if you want to catch up in a different way. So use the arrow head pattern from the front of the helmet to get the same profile. Yeah, what I think I'll do is do that. How wide is that ruler? Is that 40 mils? Jinx, you're off for lunch. Oh, that's right. You guys are like a day and 12 hours away from me. It's 2:30 in the morning here, so yeah, go get some food. Nourish thyself. Okay. That'll work. That will work. That's getting in the way. So what we're going to do is going to cut out on the pen line use that as the terminator of that band that runs over the top of the helmet, so it emulates the arrowhead on the front. Once we've got that in, continue putting these tabs, these little claws up. I want one directly in the center, and then two equidistant here and here kind of thing, to balance out those little claws all the way around. Going to remove all of this outline section right down the middle here. I'm not sure whether to leave it open and reinforce the back so that the cheeks don't flap, or to remove it and then on the back, flush with the back of the foam, so that 10mm thick bit, put a black layer of foam all the way up and arch it so that it retains strength and still has that countersunk look. I think we're going to put black lens in behind the eyes from talking to my client. So having a black countersunk in there with the black lenses would still look sweet. The helmet itself is going to be a red maroon colour, and all this raised 90-degree bevel that we're putting around will be a gold colour before distressing and painting and aging and stuff. Seek, how do you do the voodoo that you do so well? Mate, you just missed Ted, which was kind of poetic. So many pins. Feel like a Hellraiser episode. A shirt message from my sponsor, from my senpai. So yeah, I think that works as a terminator for that band on the back of the helmet. So it'll go right over the ridge. Let me give you a better. Right over the ridge of the helmet. From its front counterpart. Boink. Bump. Tends to fall over if I only put one in. It'll scrub up nicely, I think. I mean, obviously I want that kind of finish on my horns. This is the prototype that I made. But, and it was in scale to the first helmet, but when I measured the first helmet on the client, it sat on top of his head instead of going over his head. So we actually measured him up and came up with this monstrosity that fits him, and of course then the horns looked like dinky toy horns, so I had to scale them up. Okay, I've got a couple more of these detailed spikes. 5, I want, like I said, 1 directly in the middle pointing up to balance it out, and then 2 to fill the gap between here and here, equidistant. And they're going to be about the same distance as those ones that are already there, so I think it'll work out nicely, keep the symmetry and still keep him looking aggressive. Then I'm going to take out that middle section of the eyes, give this piece a bit of a kick up with a heat curve, not a lot, just a little. And then get into the horns and do all that striation of, whoops, here, all this, to give them some texture. I got to heat them up with the heat gun on the inside as well, because they haven't quite mimicked a balanced pair, but in real life they wouldn't actually be a perfectly symmetry, but you can see they don't quite have the same curve coming up here, and they should be level with the middle, so bit of that helps. Actually, I think that's what the problem is. The that white balance from that freaking light is just scary at the moment. And now you can see all the shit stacked up behind me. I had to empty out my my cosplay room, so I've had to stack it wherever I can fit it for the moment. I only just kind of tied that into my head. A shirt message from it, and now a shirt message from our sponsor. Yeah, see, dude, old age. That's what that is. So, cut 5 more of these baby spikes. Baby spikes, whatever. Whack me in the helmet. I got to put that light on now because I don't have enough light to see here. The camera's soaking it up. Okay, white balance flash in your eyeballs. Hang on a sec. Boink. Oh. And now that I've moved the camera, we have a crooked horizon. That'll do me. Close enough. So all I've done is I got a offcut of foam cut off the edge to give me a 45, and I'm just using that to do all this trim around the edge of the helmet. So I'm also cutting, as you can see, 45° back from the thin edge to the flat edge so that they fit on the existing 45 smoothly. And then I'm going to cut a very long shallow bevel from the top back down to the flat, and that gives us the pointed look. It's very tricky, highly technical geometry stuff. That's 3 and I needed 5, didn't I? So I need 2 more. I wonder if I should not put a thicker one in the center at the back. You know what we do? We try it. Balance it out with a thin one and a thick one and see what looks more pleasing. That's a ruler, can't use that. Steps in quietly. What's all this then, eh? How are you, Sancho? Good to see you again, mate. This, apparently, is a little bit of heresy. So I was told by a mate of mine in the know today, who is familiar with the 40k, I thought these guys fought alongside the 40k Marines. But no, these guys are most definitely on the other side, opposite the Emperor. In fact, these are what they do with the fallen Emperor's soldiers, apparently. Resurrect them as Chaos Knights. Burn for the Emperor. Looks good so far. Glad you like it, man. I got the horns sorted out for this one, so I'm going to have a matching pair of much larger horns than that prototype job. They still have all the notches and slashes and stuff and details for the band to go on before they look anything like that. But they make this thing look bad in a good way. So let's throw them over there for a minute. Absolutely. Add some detail, then add some detail, and step back, have a cup of coffee, come back and add some more detail. So, I do like that larger one in the middle. It's barely perceptible that it's larger. I went much wider. So I think I'll leave that like that. Just noticed I have been a little remiss. I have rounded the outside edges of that mount, but I have not rounded the outside edges of this one. So, let me sing you a song of my people. G'day, Yon. How are you, man? Bloody hey, old man. Cheeky bastard. Just because I'm like 3 times your age or whatever. Or twice. Okay, I'll just swap this down to a really worn out 200 grit just to get rid of the bird kind of feel there. So give me a sec. Quick pass just to... There we go, that's better. I don't like skipping a step. So I think the next bit will be actually gluing all this down. So that I can pull all these bloody pins out of it. Actually, that's the second step. The next step is to have another bite of me ginger snap cookie. I did that earlier. No, mate. Tim Tams are for people who are earning money. The heady days of Tim Tams are at pause for a moment. But never fear, I have no doubt they will return. Come on, Biro. It's almost like you've got no lead in your pencil. Right. Almost. Almost need a Tim Tam donation tin, but you know what? There are probably far more important things in life. Can't believe I said that. More important than Tim Tams. My friend Jellicoe. Freaking biros, my lord. Gives me some idea of where I'm putting the glue. I think that's everything traced. So I'm going to remove it and glue it in stages instead of taking everything off and then putting it on piece by piece. I'll do remove and glue. Glue. There we go. step by step. I should patent that and then flog it off to some pre-packaged boys band. Don't think anybody's done that yet. Purposely taking the glue a little outside of the outlines, because this 2mm foam I found is notorious for curling up at the edges when I hit it with a heat gun to seal it. So I make a point now of making sure that I have my glue cover the entire surface really well, right out to the edges. Hang on, let's put that way, right out to the edges, and overlap the glue on the surface that I'm gluing it to, so that it can't release. Okay. Yay. So I'm going to stick all the detail on first before I worry about my gap filling, because a good majority of these gaps are going to be covered by the overlays. Let's take that back one off in case we get a little bit of stretch in this 2mm foam when we stick it down, which tends to happen. So we'll give it a bit of play room. Probably should have indicated about how far down I need to bring put it down to about there. Clang! So a nice thin coat without any pooling of glue, and I might give it a second coat just to, not as load bearing or anything, but I want this to be a decent bit of work when it's done. How far away from the line are we? Not that far. Yep, that's got the centre mark on that side, so this is the glue side. Make sure the glue goes right out to the outer edges. Oh, contact adhesive makes this thinner foam curl up pretty much instantly. Nope, someone's talking about me, my ears are burning. But I suppose, while they're talking about me, they're leaving you guys alone. Whoa! That could have ended up all dirty and dusty and the grit on the floor. Wait till all the moisture has dissipated off the surface where it doesn't look like it's wet. And that gives you a much better result with your gluing. Well, I'm probably preaching to the choir. So put this red strip over the top and the arrow that you can see there in the 2mm foam. We'll do that first. Then I think it might be best to actually peel all of that bottom bit off, or at least maybe take the spikes off, keep them in order, and work from gluing the bottom trim on first, then the spikes, tunk 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 tunk, because the spikes overlap. And glue spider webs on the helmet, dang it. Someone's sending me an email. Wait one. It's right there on the second screen so it doesn't interrupt what we're doing. That's a confirmation of Dango's follow. Yeehaw. Dear name withheld, my name is Mr. Costello. I'm a financial consultant. I have client who has interest in investing in your country into joint venture partnership. He has funds available meant for investment. Please contact me through the below contact email if you want interested. If you want interested. Seems legit. Let's hit the big old delete button on that piece of crap too. Okay. That's fairly dang close. Now I've given myself a little pen mark so I can line up the center, and by tracing down either side of this while it was pinned, we should be able to get it back. At the moment I'm placing it with absolutely no pressure, so the contact cement is tacking it in place but not gluing it until we give it a little love. And that's basically the love it needs. It ain't going nowhere now, not without tearing itself to pieces. And while the helmet's got a two-way curve in it, this 2mm foam is so thin and flexible, it takes that curve without any bubbling or hassles whatsoever. And that's a pretty nice seam across the front there. There's a tiny little bit there which will need filling. Okay. On with the show. That arrow needs to go in there. Wow, this stuff is really drinking the glue up. Now, I alluded to this last week, I think, in the helmet stream, but probably another 4 weeks, we'll be able to make it official. But I'm having a chat to somebody about a sponsorship business. Well, a sponsorship partnership kind of thing. I have long-term supporter, Cosventure Cosplay, which is a little outlet in New South Wales, Ballarat, Victoria. but we haven't been able to be very beneficial to each other. The acquisition of foam in Australia is a freaking expensive venture for retailers to get involved in. And of course, to get higher quality foams or higher density foams, the weight increases quite a lot. Those of you in the States I'm not sure if you do it in the UK, but definitely in the States, they have a foam density rating system like the L200 and L400, etc. In Australia, the way that they describe density and the way that they give you different grades of foam is in kilos per cubic metre. So the higher the kilos per cubic metre, the denser the foam. The problem with that is, it's also really easy to see how 75 kilo foam is far heavier than 40 kilo foam, and therefore would cost more to ship around Australia. And that's our stumbling point at the moment. By the time they get the puck of foam, the 2 metre by 1 metre by however thick it is, then get it sliced into 10 mil or 12 mil or 5 or 2 or whatever it is that you need, then get it to you, it can be quite expensive. These guys that I'm talking to now are going to be a West Australian based company, so they won't have as much difficulty with the increase in price to get it from them to the customer. We hope. But, keep an ear to the door. That will all be revealed in the next few weeks. Hopefully that all goes ahead quite nicely. I probably should take a couple of progress photos for the Instagram machine. Oh wow, we're on 17% battery. That never happens. Camera. 3:33 a.m. Didn't quite get glue under that one little piece. Okay then. One. Two. Three. 6, and then the big ass one. Okay, so these two down the front are my starters. All this stuff around the edge overlaps it, so they've got to go in first. The pins go right through, so I keep getting them and jabbing them underneath my freaking fingernails, because apparently I get a thing for torture. Driving sharp bloody things up under your nails. No, that goes upwards, so what have we done wrong there? Okay, so that goes that side. Actually, I might leave that one because that's going to have the right one on the right side, otherwise it's just not going to fit. Whoop, where do you think you're going? The Little Prop Shop is hosting. Thank you very much, Little Prop Shop. Appreciate that, man. It's your shirt tweet. It is indeed, my friend. To make it even funnier, mate, Ted popped in earlier on. It's like, hi! Wet surface faces up. Wet surface faces up. Like that. That'll do. I can work with that. So I started putting the detailing on the Chaos helmet. So I'm going to glue all this 45 all the way around. Remove the T-section for the eyes down the front and make it look smoking. Sweet. Now I've given that a little overlap over the line so that when I do cut out the eyes, I can trim that nice and flush and all mix in. Deep into your sling chester right now. Sweet, man. Okay, so let's get this other side sorted. Rough idea of where the glue is going. That little stick up nub should be right now. slap some more glue around the place. So how is that build coming along, mate? Yeah, please do. Okay. Oi, get back here, you. Sweet. Instagram link. Let's check that out. Think you got an issue, dude. Oh, okay. The first image isn't opening up. I got a second image, which is the gun upside down with the scope at the bottom of the screen. And then I got another image which is the other way around with the magazine to the bottom of the screen. So yeah, it does. Ah, there we go. There's the first image. Beautiful. That's it. Damn. That's scrubbing up so nicely. Mate, that is awesome work, brother. Okay, we get the tear duct to go in, then the border around the bottom, and then those little darts to go in there. Of course it flips over so that got to decide whether to weather or not. You kind of dig in the clean look. What's the costume you're wearing it with like? Well, I'm allowed to yawn. It's 5 to 4. That one's for your Etsy shop. Well, then hey, mate, go with whatever feels good. Oh, I meant more like the finish on the costume. I thought you were using it as part of as a prop to match your costume. So obviously, if your costume is nice and clean and sharp, then your prop can be. But if your costume's like rough and dirty and stuff, then it wouldn't make much sense for the weapon to be pristine. But yeah, it's a moot point now, isn't it? Excuse me, a little bit of dremeling to do. Just got to remove the texture off the back of the foam. At least knock it down a bit so that the glue will take. Got a matched pair of Vagabonds in base silver at the moment. They'll be your Dirty Mad Max style goodie. Sweet. Okay. Let's get that into place. Oh, and there goes my frame drop rate. Fucking thing. Right. Yeah, things are getting back to normal, mate. Got another member of the household now, so I got the workshop elf, which everybody knows and loves, and the high elf. And then we got another blinking elf. Which means I get well and truly outnumbered around here now. The workshop elf is on the other side of the country until tomorrow night. Actually, she's been away for a week, so I've been looking after the other two girls, doing school runs and still holding down my gigs at night. So, getting daytime sleep to catch up on that while they're off at school. Got to put a bit of overlap glue. Oh no, I did. But other than that, one foot in front of the other. That's how we're going. Got to get this full suit done in the next 8 or 9 weeks. Got to have it done before the last weekend in September when it needs to be worn, which is going to be a lot easier now because this time of the year the DJ business starts slowing down a bit. Did a school disco last night, that being said. But my next gig is shit. Where are we? We're 22nd, so 1, 2. My next gig's not for another 2.5 weeks. Although I got my regular Monday night, Wednesday night, Thursday nights going on. But yeah. Good old school discos, indeed, mate. They're the bread and butter in the off season. Queen, how you doing? Welcome back. Just doing all the trim on the helmet now that I've got the horn shapes done. So I managed to get both of those finished. Let me put one up. So the horn shapes are done. They need to be detailed. So I still got to get into them like I did with that. Cut some notches in each of the scales, and then cut them up with the knife. Hit them with the heat gun to get them to blow up. I've got to remember to take those knife cuts all the way to the edge. I still got to put the details on the bands around the horn. So I'll put strips like I've got on either side here. But I'm not sure about the studs. I might have a line on some tiny little skulls, but I'm not sure whether they're going to work either. And then, yeah. But first we've got to get all this detailed trim on the helmet. So So I've done a little bit of progress since you were with me last stream. You can't figure out something on your cosplay. Well, there's a couple of us on tonight. Normally there's a much bigger brains trust to ask, but yeah, throw a question up there or what your issue is and see if one of us has come across it previously and might be able to help you with it. Still with us, Queen? There we go. You're making Daedric out of thick floor mats. You want to add laces to some parts, like the back and the gauntlets, but you can't figure out how to make it look good. Are these going to be load-bearing laces or just laces for looks? Wait, the Daedric has laces? Because I've done a little bit of Daedric work. So what you're talking about, like on, whoops, come here, on the inside, whoops, where's the camera, for Christ's sake, on the inside of the gauntlets to lace them around your wrist, basically. Because if they're just there for looks, then you've got a lot more options. But if they're there to actually lace it up, and they're going to form a practical use, the reference photos you're finding for male models you're making your own kind of version, hey, dude, go for it. One of the things I did was actually roll the character in the game, or not roll the character, but put the armor on my character in the game, and take a shitload of reference photos from that. Which may or may not be an option for you. It would be to lace it up and for looks. So yeah, if it's going to lace up the foam, you're going to need to reinforce the foam because the foam will tear. It's not going to take any stress at all. That's what I need. Oh, you're just ripping into it now. Can make it a solid gauntlet, then use light craft foam on the outside, yeah? There's a three-way wedge there. The texture mark is making it look off, but they're all mating up quite nicely into the corner, and I've just trimmed that corner off at the same 45 that it's met with this, and all that centerpiece there is coming out, but then I'm going to Dremel that surface nice and flush, and the inside edge I'll round off. Okay. I'm going to work my way around, so I've got this next strip here that goes along here. Now the good thing is there are bucket loads of tutorials out there for making gauntlets that you can take a gander at and knock off some of their techniques, but do them with your own aesthetic look. So you still get to match it with your variation of the Daedric, but you can use somebody else's planning and effort. I mean, we all do it. This is JF Customs' unfold of a Dr. Fate helmet. The only thing I've designed is the horns. Okay, that's flat or damn close to it. So let's see if we can't trickle charge it off of here. That's better. Charging. Cool. Got to remove some more texture, so back to the Dremel for a sec. I don't know whether I'm actually going to get this finished tonight, guys. I'm fading fast now. It's 20 past 4. And we just hit the 3-hour mark for streaming. So the gauntlet's going to lace up all of the van brace over the top of the gauntlet. Yep, that's 80% of cosplay. Is the research and planning bit. Don't put any glue on the tip of the freaking thing. Doobie 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 doobie. Doesn't want to do it, does it? Fucking thing. Come on. So, like I said, it's getting really freaking late, and it's been a 3-hour stream. So I'm gonna remove this eye section from the mask, and then probably call it quits for the night, guys. Wowzers. That seems to have opened up the front a fair bit. And yeah, I'm not real sure about that. We're talking about blocking in the eyes with the black lens. So I don't want to do a Boba Fett, lens all the way down. What I'm thinking of doing is, yeah, exactly, these may be the droids you're looking for. I'm considering putting black foam in behind it, bringing it back to where it was, but having that depth. But I think I may call it for the evening, gang. Or the morning in my case, 4:30 in the morning. Might be time to get some Zeds. They're laid out for me in the morning. Let's punch up that Instagram page that LPS has just put on. Oh, that is some nice work. I do like Nerf mods and repaints. Okay. I'm going to. Yep, we'll drop that down to a dull roar in the background, I think. Just like that. Okay, my friends, thank you very much for joining me tonight. Let's do something like that from the very, very messy workspace. I'll see you again in the not too distant future. I don't know which one of the cameras to look at now. And I can't do cross-eyed like that to do both. So, yep, I'm going to call it quits and pull the pin for the evening. Does that work? Ugh, that's very grainy. That's crap. So, something just fell down on me. Until next time, gang, I'm Tyrannus Cosplay. I will see you in stream or at a convention or something somewhere at some stage. If you haven't already caught up on my social medias, you'll find me on Facebook down there underneath the very brightly lit hand, on Instagram right there, and on YouTube here, where you can see everything from the making of the Nordic armor there to the Daedric there to the making of this thing. And if you're feeling like you'd like to help a struggling artist out that can't even afford Tim Tams anymore, you'll find my Patreon page just over there. I've got some rewards for people who help out at different tiers, and yeah, we're looking at upgrading those or changing them up a bit to give some variety. Until next time, I'm out of here. I'm Tyrannus Cosplay. Don't forget that yellow and red stuff across the top of the screen there. It's called Cosplay because it's meant to be fun. Good night, everybody.